Today we delve deep into the journey and vision behind IsraTransfer with a Q&A featuring co-founders Daniel Engelsman and Doron Seitz. Join us as we hear about their inspiration and challenges since inception in 2008 and discover interesting insights that have shaped IsraTransfer into a trusted name for thousands of individuals and businesses navigating international currency transactions. Doron, starting with you, what inspired you to start IsraTransfer and how did the idea come about?
I'll give praise to my business partner here because it came from really him. What inspired us is that I was living here from 2001 to like 2003 or something like that. I was looking to, and then we went to Italy to live for a couple of years. I was looking to come back to Israel, and my brother did business with Daniel in the UK. And I suppose Daniel mentioned to him that he wanted to make Aliyah. It led on from there, and we both met to talk about the idea of starting an exchange company here. And we first of all, obviously, the main thing is you got to get on with the person if you're going to be working together. You know, we put together a business plan. Daniel made Aliyah. I came back, and we slowly put it together. And we formed it in May 2008.
Can you share some of the early challenges you faced when establishing the company, especially considering the economic climate in 2008?
When we decided to start the company, we didn't expect the recession of late 2008, and obviously that caused it wasn't a good time to start a business, but also starting a business in a foreign country, different language, different customs, different mentality of doing business is certainly a challenge. My wife always says to me that if you manage to start a business in Israel with all the bureaucracy that goes with it, you could do it anywhere in the world. And I think that's very true because it's quite unique here. Extremely difficult to run a business and to keep it going for so many years. Too many exact challenges to mention, but plenty of them. Over the years, compliance, not just in Israel, but all around the world, has grown tenfold in terms of requirements, and that is probably one of the biggest challenges of any fintech, any financial company around the world these days, and we're no different.
How do you overcome these challenges?
Have to take good advice from good people in terms of balancing the needs of compliance with the needs of clients. That's always at the forefront of our minds of when dealing with compliance, but we always have to be compliant for all the regulations. So it's not easy, but we have to sleep at night and make sure that we are doing things the way they're supposed to be done. It's not easy, but it's a must for any financial business these days.
How did you differentiate IsraTransfer from competitors in the market at that time?
First of all, I don't think there were as many, but however, there's always competitors. I think that we just basically came into the business just trying to help a customer as much as possible, giving them good service. I don't say being honest is the correct way, but if there's ever a problem, you try to always make sure the customer feels that we've handled it correctly and done right by them. I always like to think, if I was the customer, how would I like to be dealt with? And I think that philosophy goes a long way to make sure we always do the right thing and always look after the customer as much as possible, just because some of them, or a lot of them, are sending very large sums of money, and it could be everything they have in the world, literally. You know, they might have sold everything in their home country in order to buy a property here or to make Aliyah, and they're choosing our company, Daniel's company, in order to facilitate that and not going through a bank. And I think that we need to make sure that in each step of the way, we make sure we do as much as possible in order to, make sure that they understand that IsraTransfer is a safe company, it's a solid company, and they will receive the money at the end of the day. And a lot of the things that we do now make sure that happens, from cybersecurity to the compliance to everything that we think, me as a CEO, make sure that the customer can sleep at night when they're sending the money from whichever country they send it from until they get the money on this end. And that's important for me. So I think that's what I hope our philosophy is, and that's what will help us differentiate us between another company or competitor from when we started to the present day.
What were some key milestones or achievements for the company in its early years?
The early years were difficult. Milestones were few and far between the first, year or so. But just looking at the office that you're sitting in right now, asking me these questions, gives me immense pride. I think it does for Doron as well. What we've grown to become. It's, back in the day, offices that we have previously been in, not that we wouldn't be proud of them, but, this office, shows the company that we've become over 16 years. We also take it very seriously, the amount of people that we employ. We don't hire lightly, and we take that responsibility greatly, and it gives me great pride that we're helping to feed many, many families in Israel through the employment that we have and the people we employ here. So those are the two things that really give me feel like achievements for me.
And Doron, anything to add?
I think for me, actually, what Daniel says is definitely true. Seeing where we first started from the first day and how we've grown professionally is really important to me.
Yep.
From the first couple of months or the first couple of years, basically the way it worked was we signed you up as a customer. You sent us money on a Monday, we get it the next day, we call you up, and you say, okay, Ben, I've got your $100,000. What do you want me to do with it? Convert it, send it to me, and we send it over. The compliance wasn't really there, and we also so now obviously there's compliance there, and I think we have a very good compliance department. But notwithstanding that, we have a very high standard of IT and cyber security. I'm very proud of that. We just received an ISO, which a couple of years ago I thought, are you insane? We're never going to get there. But we've invested a lot of money into it, with both human capital and technology to get it. So that I'm extremely proud of, that our company has an ISO in IT security, and I think that's extremely important for any fintech company to have that type of degree of professionalism. And from all aspects of the company, if I look at it now compared to where we started, it's a different world, and I'm extremely proud of the professionalism that we have, and the type of people that we employ, and their different skills. So for me, I think that's also really important, and we always try and improve on everything we can do. Obviously, nothing's perfect, and no company or any fintech will be perfect. But as long as you always strive to improve and see how we can do things better and improve in all aspects, I think that's the main thing. You should never just sit and say, okay, that's it. We're doing great here. How can we improve, do things better? Even the technology that we're using for the portal to make it better and more customer friendly, and the look of it, and improved features. It takes time. Dan always jokes that I can program it very quickly if I had the time, but I know it's not easy. And yeah, it's all of these things that add up. And I think for me, that's really, if I look and see the differences between the early days and now, it's like, wow, that really does it for me.
How has the currency exchange industry changed since 2008? And how has IsraTransfer adapted to these changes?
Everything's changed. Was Facebook even in existence in 2008? It was very young back then, or was WhatsApp? So things changed quickly. 16 years ago, as Doron said previously, we could receive money on a Monday morning and send it out without asking any questions, where the money's come from, what you're using the money for. It was very lax back then. Compliance is an important aspect, and that's what's changed probably the most. But also, the use of technology to do things in terms of protecting customer, as Doron alluded to before. So I think pretty much what Doron covered earlier covers that question.
Have there been any significant challenges that you've encountered along the way, and how did you overcome them?
There's always things that come out of the blue. We've got through COVID, big logistical nightmare in terms of, making sure everyone could work from home in a very quick period of time without affecting clients. Very proud of how we dealt with that. The current situation here in Israel, also at the beginning when the war started, it was fairly similar in a lot of respects to COVID. On a lighter note,
bank strikes, and yours truly was allowed into the bank, like one of the only people that was actually allowed into the bank, and had the honour of sitting upstairs and getting some things done. So I'm quite proud of that, actually.
The bank went on strike for 3 weeks, okay? And due to our relationship with the bank, Doron was allowed into the bank where only one of the managers was working out of the whole branch. And we managed to get transfers done, which is quite amazing, really, because no other company was really giving much access to them. So that was quite a challenge. There's been a couple of snow days in Jerusalem where the banks have been closed.
A couple of snow days, but I think COVID was really, probably sits at the top, just because, people also got sick, and it wasn't a matter of just, working from home. It's coming back as well when, you could come out to work, but you had to keep people separate as well. People's mental health was affected. All these types of things, I think, was a real challenge. And now I think because of that, we've got systems in place for disaster planning, which you never know. Even as much as internet goes down in the office here, or there's no electricity, like we still have to answer the phones and trade. So we were able to do that. Things will be put into place, technology, and just backing up everything, kind of put our thought processes into that direction of, if this fails, how do we cope with it? So that was, I suppose, would say was useful, and it's not the right way of describing it, but we want that to happen in order to have disaster plans, but it certainly helped us to sharpen them.
How do you approach customer service and satisfaction, and what measures do you take to address any issues or concerns raised by clients?
Customer satisfaction is one of the fundamental parts of our business. We take it extremely seriously. We, in my opinion, go above and beyond for a lot of customers. If they have a valid complaint or concern, we deal with it in a very professional manner and in a quick manner. We're dealing with people's money at the end of the day. If you tell someone it's going to take them a week to deal with their concerns or any issues that may arise, that's too late. A lot of people are purchasing property, or, we have people that have to rush and have their swimming pool cleaned by Pesach and things like this. So, everything's important to everyone, and we have to keep them as happy as possible, but we take it extremely seriously. We have surveys, to try and get customer feedback. We try and amend our technology to try and make things a bit easier for the customer. We try and learn their pain points and therefore try and make things easier for the next customers. So it's always learning from the customers, from their feedback, to try and improve the service offered to future clients.
Looking back on the journey since 2008, what are you most proud of accomplishing at IsraTransfer?
I think anywhere in the world, basically, the statistics of a company, surviving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years is medium to low. So I say, first of all, to be able to have the company be in the system for 16 years is quite an achievement. However, I think I'll touch on something that Daniel might have mentioned before. Just what's important to me as well is also be an employer, and I try and use the philosophy of what I would like to be done to me or be treated like I try and treat my employees, and if really try and go to the extra mile to try and help them out, try and if they need things in many aspects, try and be there for them. And just on the human side is very important to me and to Daniel, I know. So I think if we've succeeded with that part as well, then I would say that's also an accomplishment. Business is business. Everyone needs to make a living, but if you can make a living, in my opinion, and also try and be as good as possible to the employees, and we try and treat them as family as we can. That type of atmosphere, although we've grown a little bit since we started, that's my philosophy.
I'd also add, whilst I completely agree with that, we've helped a lot of people making Aliyah, a lot of people purchasing homes in Israel. It's not straightforward for people. It's very stressful for people. And whilst I'm very Zionistic myself, but it does give me pride to see how many people that we've seen move here through our help. Not exclusively because of us, but we've played a little part in helping people make Aliyah, buying their home in Jerusalem or in Tel Aviv or wherever it may be. It gives me great satisfaction as well.
Now let's move on to some light-hearted quickfire questions. If you could switch lives with any fictional character for a day, who would it be and why?
Mickey Mouse, because Daniel loves Mickey Mouse, so, I have to say that, because now he's going to have a trouble saying something.
No, I actually wasn't going to go for that.
Okay.
I was going to go for Batman. The reason for Batman is because one of my favourite comedic scenes of all time was from Only Fools and Horses, Del Boy and Rodney walking down the streets with dressed up as Batman and Robin. So one of my favourite scenes ever. So that's why I would go for Batman.
If you could time travel to any period in history, where would you go and what would you do?
I would be at Wembley in 1966 when England won the World Cup. No question.
I would be at Wembley 5 minutes before the end and telling him what the score would be, right, to ruin the match for him. That what I would do.
What's the most memorable concert or live performance you've ever attended?
Eric Clapton, Albert Hall. Fantastic.
I saw Bon Jovi in Parc Yarkon. Great night out.
If you could have one superhuman ability, what would it be and how would you use it?
I guess to be able to fly, because I don't like aeroplanes. I like travelling, but don't like the travel aspect. So I guess if I could fly or transport myself somewhere quickly, I'd be much happier travelling the world. But I know Doron likes aeroplanes and aeroplane food, but I'd hate it. So I guess that's what I would do. And
I think it's superhuman ability, but I suppose ability to heal, like the sick, for instance. So I suppose it could be if we're thinking about superhuman.
What's the best vacation you've ever taken and what made it so special?
I was about 20 years old and you could buy this Delta pass in the US for like $500 and you could basically fly anywhere in the US for 30 days. The only catch was a standby, but I only missed one flight and out of that whole time. And it's fantastic. Literally, you could fly from New York to Washington for lunch and come home. Like, literally, that's fantastic. And I went all over the US. So that was quite memorable.
I also love the US, and I also like Disney World, as Doron may have mentioned earlier. And so, yeah, going to Disney World with my kids and my wife, can't beat it. I love it.
If you could teleport to any place in the world right now for a spontaneous adventure, where would you go?
I actually would like to go to Japan. I've not been to Japan. It's my next thing on my bucket list, really. So I'd teleport to Japan right now.
Well, I'm actually going to say that as well. But
we'll go together.
We'll go together. But since you want to go there, I have to think of somewhere on the other side of the world. So probably I'd say somewhere like Chile or Peru, somewhere like that. Just so we're a bit far apart.
Cover all the time zones.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.